talks that shit.
Welcome to Trash Talk MMA.
Smile on my face, behind my back, they talk trash.
The #1 podcast for news and insight that matters in the world of mixed martial arts.
I don't want to hear it.
Brought to you live and unfiltered from all four corners of the globe by MMA aficionado Antoine Pelche.
Yo, and welcome to the Trash Talk MMA podcast. I'm your host, Antoine Pelche, and today I have a very special guest in the house, Mr. Isaac Kensington, better known as MMA documentary maker and filmmaker, Genghis Con. Isaac, how you doing, buddy?
Good, me, man.
Excellent. Well, it's cool, man. Thank you for coming back. We tried this one time, and I had a difficulty with the mic. We lost the recording, so we got to come back and outdo ourselves this time around.
Yeah.
Awesome. Lots to talk about. You're in Phuket right now, and you're putting together and launching Phuket Dreaming Season 2 for Phuket Top Team. Tell us a little bit about that.
All right, Season 1, I came out here originally to film Phuket Dreaming. It's like a series on basically all the fighters that live and train in Thailand that like come out here to like live full time, and also their lifestyles and everything that goes behind it. And like Season 1 did pretty good, and yeah, we're just starting on Season 2. And Season 2 is like we got a lot of new fighters on it, like Thiago Tavares. We got some K1 guys down here. We got Cyrus Washington, aka Black Dynamite. Rob Lasita will be on it. Junie Browning. There'll be a lot of new characters, plus with a lot of the old ones, and Luke also.
So when Phuket, what was Phuket Dreaming? What was its original purpose? Like, who came up with the idea for this show?
Like originally, we Boyd Clark, the owner of Phuket Top Team, he came to me with the idea to like he wanted to shoot a series like something similar to 24/7 and something similar to like my old Miami Hustle shows, but here in Phuket, centered around his team,
okay,
like, his fight team.
How did he know about you? Just by he just was a fan of your work, or what?
Mostly Rob Lasita, like he was a fan of my work before, and he like showed Boyd. He was showing Boyd for a while, and Boyd was like got into it, and they had hired originally a guy to come do it at first, but it didn't work out. And then they contacted me a couple years ago, and we've been trying to work out some stuff. And finally, Booster like jumped in, and they helped sponsor the whole series, and that helped get the whole thing put together.
Because yeah, it did pretty good numbers, right? Like, how did that work for you? How did that work for Phuket Top Team? Is that something that really expanded your exposure?
Yeah, like it got like a lot of good numbers for the Season 1, like a lot of views, like a lot of people seen it, and everybody, like the fighters got more popular, bigger sponsors.
Yep.
Main events and stuff like that, and Boyd. The Top Team gym, they also got a lot more like customers and fighters, and a lot of more pro fighters want to come out and train at Phuket Top Team because of the series.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool because it actually highlights a lot of what you can do outside of the gyms here. I think there's a lot of videos that get put out by gyms that are out here, and then you see what it is like to train there, but there's not a lot showing on what's going on outside. And I think it's one of the really cool things about Phuket, this island, is it's pretty small, but there's all sorts of activities that you can do across it, and I think you probably tend to highlight a lot of that, right?
Yeah, we like to show what's going on outside of like Phuket, so like people, if they come, they can see what it's like to live here, like kind of like as a local, and see all the activities, how beautiful the place is, and also the training. So you get everything in one package pretty much.
Now, had you been out here before
No.
doing Phuket Dreaming 1?
No, this is my first time coming out. Like,
okay. So, but I mean, you did you do Phuket Dreaming 1 as well?
Yeah.
Okay, so you did come out here for that, obviously.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've been here since, like, I haven't left yet. So, like,
okay.
So I've been here for almost a year now. Like, in a month, it'll be a year.
So you did back to, okay,
Yeah,
awesome.
back
I didn't
to
realize that. I thought you actually did Season 1, left, came back. All right, well, it happens to a lot of people, right? You know?
After this season, I'm going home, like, in a month and a half, basically.
Okay. So, Phuket Dreaming Season 2, you're, 2 episodes deep on YouTube at the time of this recording?
And the 3rd episode should be coming in, like, the next 2 weeks, should be released.
Okay. How's the response been so far?
So far, it's been good. Like, a lot of people like the new season. They're enjoying, like, Cyborg and Jay-Z.
Yep.
Some of the same old characters, and the new ones are going to start being introduced into the next episode.
Okay. Awesome. So let's do a little roll back through time here. How did you get involved, with filmmaking? Like, where did that originate from?
Originally, I was just editing, and I was doing like a lot of highlight reels, and I was working for a few like fighters and companies like that, doing like.
Is something you went to school for, or?
No, I went to school for football. I was playing football, and like during my college time, I became like an MMA fan.
Okay.
And that's when I just started I fell in love with the sport and started editing, and yeah, I just got caught up in it pretty much.
So you're just having fun, or were you trying to fill a need that you like that wasn't there? Like, were you like, hey, nobody's really trying to do some highlight reels for these guys? Like, what was the initial inspiration?
My initial inspiration was I was trying to introduce the sport to my brother, like and the rest of my family, and I wanted them to like watch some of the fighters and like just watch some highlight reels and like get involved and like.
Because when you try to introduce somebody to MMA, it's not showing them entire fights isn't always the best way to go because they don't always resonate. Well, they don't, or they can be too long, or you can have a boring fight. So of course, a highlight reel is always a great way to introduce people into stuff. So you put together these highlight reels to get your friends and family kind of on board. Yeah, like I was like wanted to show them Anderson Silva and like Melvin Manoff and some like Matt Hughes and stuff like that. But the highlight reels had like horrible music that I didn't like. They couldn't get down to. Like they put it on, they would like blink out within like 10 seconds after watching. So I would just switch the music, and that was it, just so they can watch them. And then from then on, I got into like editing. What sort of setup did you have technically?
Sony Vegas. And that was about it, just Sony Vegas.
You're still using that?
Yeah, still using the same thing.
Excellent. So over the years, obviously, you've become a well-known name, particularly within, I guess you could say, the MMA underground. What are some of the videos that put you on the map?
I think maybe the Grand Theft title highlights, which was like it was like a knockoff of the Grand Theft Auto, the video game, but like showing like a fighter who would like steal the title from whoever the champ was.
Okay.
It's just like a cartoon type highlight reel.
All right.
And that one like got me like the most views that I had when I was doing highlights, and that like helped me like kept pushing out more highlights after that. Now
it seems like you have a couple types of work. Like you do these almost like these profiles of specific fighters, like for Fedor or for Manhoff, etc. And then you also do this documentary style work. Which one do you gravitate towards the most? I mean, it seems like the documentary style stuff has kind of taken over the highlight reels, no?
Yeah, the documentary stuff, because more when I'm filming, it's better to do like the documentary style stuff because I can tell a story. It's more like doing like a movie type for me. Like it's building towards like doing like a full-length documentary movie style of filming. But when I'm editing, I still do highlight reels for people and stuff like that. But it's not as much for me anymore. Like,
well, and also this probably allows you to control the content a lot better.
Yeah,
you get to film it, you get to pick it, edit it, and you own all the content. I mean, how does that work?
Yeah, I own all the content.
Okay, yeah, that's huge.
Yeah, film, edit it, and put it all together. So it's like it's a lot better for me that way than the highlights. Highlights is just a lot of other people's content. Me putting that together and then sending it to them.
So when you started putting together, whatever, either your own documentaries and your own highlight reels, how are you going about promoting these things? Because you've garnered a good following. How did you go about growing that?
Before I used to just post on the forums and just on all the MMA forums that I can find, like Sherdog, the Underground, and MMA Weekly and stuff, and just post up links to the videos and like let people.
So you just say, hey guys, I just did a tribute to fighter X, whatever, check it out, and then you'd have it up on YouTube. Yeah, they'd start checking out, comment about it,
and pass it around and like word of mouth type shit.
Okay.
Because I never really been that good at marketing like myself, being a marketer and doing all that type of stuff. Because it's kind of hard to do everything at the same time.
Yeah, man, it's its own gig, man.
Yeah. So
we don't ask marketers to make the movie, but sometimes we ask the movie maker to be his own marketer.
Yeah,
and it's like, hey man, it's its own gig.
Yeah.
So at what point did you feel like, hey, I'm gaining some traction here? There's actually a bit of a following. People are starting to recognize my name. They're recognizing my work. They're giving me some props on it. At what point did you say, hey, let's make this a career?
When I got hit up by the IFL, like when they were around.
Okay.
And they wanted me to work for them like full time doing like highlight reels and intros and stuff like that.
So that must have been pretty cool. Yeah, who'd you get a call from for that?
I don't remember the guy's name.
Yeah.
But it was like a long time ago, and like I used to work directly with them, and I used to do a lot of. They used to have me do a lot of like my own highlights, but just like with IFL fighters.
Okay.
And then like promo stuff for like their TV shows and stuff like that.
Excellent.
And that was pretty cool because it was like good money at the time, and I was able to stop working regular job and just do highlights.
So between the time that you started doing this as a hobby and then you started actually getting paid for it, how many years of kind of paying your dues did you put in?
Like maybe a year and a half, 2 years.
Okay, like actually that's not too bad.
Highlights, yeah, they contacted me like pretty quick. And then, MMA work was always off and on. Like you'll have something for a little while and then something else pop up or.
So a lot of your films, I mean, what's the one that's garnered the most views? Like what, in your opinion, is the movie or the film that you've put together, documentary, that's been the most successful?
Miami Hustle.
Okay.
The original Miami Hustle was like, when we first put that out, the first couple episodes were like really popular. They were blowing up. We got like a lot of hits real fast and like.
So what was the premise behind that, and how did that come together?
That was like that came together. It was just like 4 fighters in Miami who all trained at like American Top Team: Jay-Z, Cavalcante, Jorge Santiago, George Masvidal, and Alexis Vila.
Yep.
And it was just like centered around them. They're training at Top Team, their strength and conditioning, and like just living and partying in Miami. And that came because I came down there originally because I had just bought my camera and everything, like, and I came down to Miami to just like I contacted Masvidal to do like a quick like 5-minute like documentary style piece on him for his fight with Paul Daly. And it was like after his fight when I got up there, Jay-Z was there training and stuff like that, and then I ended up doing something with Jay-Z. And then like as soon as I left, they had called me and told me they wanted to try and do something bigger, like something that we can put together and like try to like make a series on or something.
Yeah, it sounds like pretty early on you forged some really strong ties with the guys at American Top Team, right?
Yeah.
And you started in Atlanta.
Yeah, I started in Atlanta at American Top Team with Rafael Sansao and Douglas Lima.
Yep.
They were like the first ones I was filming with, and they all like were connected with Manu and too, who's out of Atlanta too, and Jucal. They were all together, so it was like that's how I got my base. And then I ended up going to Miami, and I ended up working with Jucal in Miami as well.
Okay.
He should be out here soon. And
he's coming out to Phuket?
To Phuket. He should be up here soon.
Excellent.
Should be on the new season of Phuket Dreaming, him and Douglas Lima.
Oh, very cool. Okay, so you obviously still have good ties with the guys at ATT?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, still good.
Now, I think one of the things that fascinates people, too, about what you've been able to accomplish is how much you've sort of infiltrated the personal lives of these professional athletes. And there's, me just doing these podcasts up here, it just stuns me how accessible, some of these guys are. And, they're pro athletes fighting in ONE FC and Bellator and in UFC. And these are people who you can just pretty much, accost in the street, have a drink with, and they'll get in your movie. They'll jump. They'll provide you with footage you might want to put together a highlight reel of them, etc. Or they'll come in and do a podcast. What's your experience been like with that?
Yeah, like most MMA fighters are pretty humble people. Like they don't think of themselves as too big or too big for anything like that. They're really open to like letting somebody come in and like help promote them because it's helping promote them at the same time as it's helping me out. And they like I don't know. I never really met any fighters who are just like.
Yeah, it's not like they have publicists and shit, right?
It's not like in other sports where they got publicists and all this stuff behind in order to get to the fighter or to get in contact with them, you have to do like MMA. You can just hit them up on Facebook or see them in the street, like you said, and talk to them.
And it's weird, and I don't really know why. I don't know if it's just because there's just less money in the hands of athletes maybe in MMA, so they don't get these huge heads around them. I'm sure if maybe we wanted to get access to Chuck Liddell or something like that, it might not quite be the same thing. But what's interesting is that, guys like Masvidal, Jay-Z, I mean, these guys have fought huge fights.
Yeah.
Rob Lucida, he's got a big fight coming up. If you're working with Douglas Lima, he's a Bellator champ, they're truly, highest level fighters out there.
Yeah.
And, I had Rob on the show, the same thing. And the guys just show up and they open themselves up like a book. I mean, it's an interesting case study, I think, of being like, why are MMA fighters such open and humble individuals? Yeah. I don't know if humble's the right word, because not all these guys are humble, but that's part of the character. We're not looking for humility from them anyways, but I think it's just that accessibility that really makes something about this sport truly unique, And
when I say like humble, I mean like with the media attention and stuff like that. They're not like big-headed towards like fans and like signing autographs and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think in our case, we've been lucky that they've just seen that we're genuine dudes. We know the sport well. Yeah. We're interested in promoting them in a positive light. And I think that so they're not like, hey, how many Twitter follows you do? What is this going to get me? Yeah. They're interested in communicating their story to people that are passionate about promoting it.
Yeah. Yeah, really.
It's pretty wild, man. So again, let's go back to how you. I'm interested in hearing more about how you grew your viewership. You started by saying that you went on the forums, you got a whole bunch of good word of mouth there. Have you used social media a lot? Have you ever really marketed yourself or had somebody help you market yourself?
I never had anybody help me, but mostly I was just posting on Facebook, the forums, and I still kind of do the same thing.
Yeah.
And I haven't been like really keeping up with my website.
It's a lot of work, man. It's a lot of work. I'm going through the process myself of setting up and managing like a top level website. If you've got your Facebook page, your Twitter account, your Instagram, your YouTube channel, it's all a lot of work, man. Yeah. And it's like, people don't realize that this process right here of putting together the content is huge. And my process is simpler than yours. I mean, here I have a laptop and a microphone. You've got mics, you've got lights, you've got camera work, editing and video, all that takes a lot of time. You got to do a ton of blends, a ton of effects.
Yeah.
So what's the part of the process that you enjoy doing the most?
I like editing the most. Like, once after I got all the footage filmed and once I'm putting it together, that's like my favorite part is editing. Filming is cool too, but editing is still like my favorite out of everything.
So, for example, like Phuket Dreaming, are you just a one-man army on it, or how does that work?
Pretty much. Boyd helps out a lot too, though. Like, he helps out with transportation, setting up scenes, and like stuff like that. Like, he's like my partner on this shit.
Now, do you find that you could use more help? Like, I mean, because you can always probably use more help, But did sometimes the shit happen? Does things go wrong?
A lot of shit goes wrong and happens. Like, it'd be a lot easier if I had maybe like one or two more people, like even just one person helping me out.
Just a good assistant, right?
Yeah, just like with the sound and like stuff like that.
No, and I mean the thing is too is out here in Phuket, it's like if your gear, you have a problem with gear, you got a problem. I had a problem with my mic and it caused an issue trying to record with you, and it's happened to it and a couple other times, and there's nothing more infuriating than that because it's not like you're in the middle of Manhattan or LA or where there's stores all over the place and you can just
go return
it or get something new or get something different. You're out here with the limited material that you have, and you don't really have an option for failure. I mean, it was crazy, man. My mic wasn't working, and all I had to do was switch the USB cable. But if it would have been a problem with the mic or with the software or the laptop,
you would have to.
I would have literally been like, "Okay, is this game over?" So you haven't had any crap. You had any crap? Like, I mean, video gear though, you can probably find some stuff.
You can find like most of the. Like the camera lenses and all that type of shit.
Yeah.
But out here, mostly I've only had like problem with like sound a couple times where like my mic would like crap out. Like now I'm working with the mic as like only one level.
Hit me up, dude. I'm the only sound guy around here, right?
Yeah.
So what's going to keep you? I mean, how long are you out here in Phuket till?
Till the middle of June.
8 episodes of Phuket Dreaming. Okay. How long is the production of each episode?
Each episode usually like it depends because we film a lot of stuff. So like right now I got enough film for like about 6 episodes.
Okay.
But I'm editing like the 3rd one right now. So that's like.
Okay.
And usually editing takes like 2-3 weeks for each episode, and it all depends on the film schedule too. So I can't like really see how long each episode would do. Like,
so when you get back to Miami, what's on the agenda?
Back to Miami, I don't know. I'm not 100% sure yet. I'm probably gonna do a documentary first, like on some street stuff in Miami, outside of MMA, and then hopefully like work on a movie next.
So you're looking to branch outside of MMA?
Yeah.
Because pretty much everything you've done has been MMA related right till now, right?
This is like pretty much my last MMA project.
Wow.
Phuket Dreaming.
Dude, that's wrong. No. I'm gonna get you doing some stuff. Can't talk about that yet, but you're not done. I will be like the Godfather, man. I will draw you back in. Do you still? I mean, do you feel like you've just saturated? Is MMA just something you've been there, done that? Do you still feel enthusiastic about it, or do you just really have some other things there's some bucket lists? Like, what are some of the things you'd like to accomplish as a filmmaker?
Yeah, like bucket list type shit, pretty much. I want to start doing movies pretty much next, and I have to branch off from MMA. I'll probably do like an MMA movie at one point or something, but I definitely got.
I mean, it could almost be a good way to seg into fiction, I guess, is by doing somewhat of an MMA themed thing. I mean, you could probably get a lot of cool people to help you out, and that would provide some. Yeah, because I can get a lot of notable characters,
characters in the movie that people will recognize and stuff.
Yeah. And I mean, and there's been a bunch of those. I mean, a lot of it's a bunch of straight to DVD crap. But
see, I don't want to get on that level either. Like, I at least want it to be good, like decent enough for people to like want to watch it.
Yeah.
Want to buy it and like get into it.
And not just feel like it's
just some shitty
slap together thing with a bunch of dudes that you've seen fight that they can't act. Do you feel like there's some MMA fighters who can act?
Yeah, there's like a couple that are like. There's this dude Jess Leodon, he's a French fighter.
Yeah, I know the name.
In the UFC, he's like he's a pretty good actor. Like,
okay,
he's a really good actor, I think. And then like I think I could use Rob Mesita to act.
Yeah, I think Rob could. Rob could be there. He just he could be in character.
Some villains.
Yeah, and I think Junie could too. Man.
Yeah, Junie could probably play some shit too.
That'd be fucking funny, man.
There's a lot of fighters and stuff with personality that you can like put in certain roles that would fit perfect, I think.
Now, what are some of the genres of films that you think that you'd like to dabble into or make movies about? Like, what are your preferred genres?
Crime, kind of like Heat type movies. Like,
dude, that's my favorite movie of all time.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Is that your favorite movie?
It's my favorite movie of all time. Like,
that's crazy,
hands
man.
Down.
Yeah, I just think that that's one of the most complex, incredibly deep movies on so many levels.
Yeah,
and it's the type of movie you can just get something new from it every single time you watch it. And talk about a casting, my God. Every single actor in that movie just dialed it in. I mean, that's like Val Kilmer's best movie. That's, I don't care what Pacino and De Niro, I mean, they've done so many good things.
I think De Niro's, I don't know. De Niro, that's one of his better movies, I think, too, because the way he plays that character is pretty like cold and straightforward.
Because Pacino has a better body of work than De Niro. You know, and De Niro and him in that movie, they only have that one scene. Well, they have a couple scenes together. Well,
that's like the main. Yeah, that's a good scene though. That's fucking incredible.
And it was funny because there was a lot of talk. I mean, we're talking about the scene in the cafe, right? Yeah. Where they actually have that conversation, and a lot of it is shot back and forth the way it's edited.
And they try to say that they weren't really in the same room.
Yeah, but no.
No, they were. Like, I think so. Yeah.
No, and there's there's been production books made where you can see them. And I think there must be a shot at one point that shows both of them. No.
No, but there's like a photo. There's a photo that shows them like side to side. But usually when they show both of them, it's like the back of Pacino's head. Yeah. Or the back of De Niro's head, like so you can kind of like.
And even as an audio guy, that movie, I mean, that's
the music, the soundtrack, everything.
The soundtrack
is on point.
I remember Mobb Deep. They sampled that. They sampled the music and made a dope track out of that. They made a dope instrumental out of that. The title track.
The guy moving over the water track. Yeah, that shit is dope.
And just the audio from the shootout. I mean, the shootout was just insane.
Like
and I've talked to a lot of people who are. My brother was ex-military and stuff, and he was just like the way that they move in this scene, the way that they cover and flank. The way that they hold the guns, the way that the guns sound in that setting, of kind of like an open freeway in downtown LA, and he was just like, everything is credible. Everything.
I always love the sound of the shootout. Like I've never seen in a movie where they have the gunshot sounds like so
vivid
and on point. Like that shit puts you into the fucking.
And it starts at the beginning of the movie when there's that first, they lay out those spikes on the ground, and the guys that run over with the bank. Truck. The bank was it a bank vehicle?
Yeah, it was like a
they stole some bonds or whatever in the back. Yeah, Heat's a badass movie, man. Yeah. And I don't think, and I like Michael Mann's body of work, but that is by far his best movie.
See, Michael Mann's like one of my favorite directors. Like,
what'd you think of the Miami Vice movie he did with him?
I liked it.
Everybody hated it again. I need to watch it again, but my initial take on it was this wasn't a really well finished product.
I always like because I was always a fan of Miami Vice. Like, since I was a kid, so like I was gonna like the movie either way. Like.
Yeah.
So it was pretty cool. I like the cinematography from the movie, like the way he shot it. The music in the movie is awesome too. Like some scenes are like kind of boring and stuff, but I just like the way it's like put together.
So crime movies. What else?
Crime, horror.
I'm a huge horror buff.
Slasher movies, and I
okay.
definitely want to do like that. That'll probably be the first thing I do is a slasher movie.
What are a couple references of horror movies of yours that you liked?
I like Halloween.
Okay.
Halloween.
Did you like those remakes?
Yeah, the remakes.
I thought the remakes were
I don't
dope.
like the originals because I was like too old by the time like I seen the originals.
Well, it's funny when you go back to old horror movies too, and by that I mean like the Friday the 13th, the Nightmare on Elm Streets, the Halloweens, the classics. That level of horror just doesn't work anymore.
Yeah, it's like
because it's just what you're seeing here is just simply not. It's just what shocks, scares, and outrages people now has just exponentially exploded, right? I love the Saw series. Yeah. I thought that was really innovative. Not saying that they're classics per se, but I think in the last, it's weird because horror's kind of now ducked back under. I think in the last 2 or 3 years, whereas I think you had the Blair Witch Project that came out and that created the whole handheld footage type thing, and that exploded. The Ring. I think The Ring was they finally made a sort of supernatural horror movie that resonated with me.
That was kind of scary. Like that was like the first, because most horror movies aren't scary anymore. Like I don't think. Like, I can't really get scared. Ring was a little bit scary. Like that was the only one that could.
Well, it's kind of a
creepy
ghost movie, and that genre, the supernatural or kind of the religious based thing, didn't really work for me. Yeah. So there was The Ring. Blair Witch Project, which I think was incredible. I don't know about you. I mean, come on,
I never watched it.
Oh man, come on, you doing what you do. Like, I mean, you're basically self-taught, and you just learn on the fly. You've done a whole bunch of street level gritty MMA shit. You have to see the Blair Witch Project, dude. Yeah, absolutely, make sure you do check that out. And then Hostel.
Yeah, Hostel.
Hostel was huge.
Hostel was awesome. I like that.
And the second one was crap.
Yeah.
Terrible.
The first one was good. And the
first one was great.
The third one was fucking.
And then I think Saw really did some new things there as well.
Yeah.
You know, that they kind of invented the super villain in basically a mass murder, a serial killer super villain type.
Yeah.
You know.
But I always like the slashers the most. Like I like Scream because I grew up on Scream. Like that was like during my when I was a kid and stuff. Scream was awesome.
Scream 1 and Scream 2 I thought were good.
Scream 1 and 2 are the best ones.
Well, there's a lot of meta text going on there. Yeah, different layers for people like ourselves that grew up on horror movies and we can see all the references to other stuff and what it's trying to say and flip itself on its ass. If you're obviously a huge horror movie fan, I can recommend some great French horror movies. There's one called Martyrs. Got to see that.
Heard of it, but I never watched it.
Yeah, it's a real cult classic. There's another one called Frontiers, like the word frontier, but with the S between parentheses at the end. I'd sort of qualify that as a Texas Chainsaw Massacre meets neo-Nazi insanity. Yeah. Really, really good. Incredible movie. High Tension. High Tension.
I've got that movie.
You've seen that by Alexander Aja, one of my favorite directors, who did the remake of The Hills Have Eyes. Which, if you haven't seen that, that's absolutely bananas as well.
I like both of those. High Tension is awesome because that shit keeps you on the edge pretty much the whole movie.
Yeah, that's a really crazy one. And then one of the greatest French horror flicks, you got to see this one in French. In French, it's called À l'intérieur, which means inside.
Oh,
so,
I've seen that.
Have you seen Inside?
Yeah,
What'd you think of that?
Baby, that one was dope.
Dude, that movie from top to bottom. It had that actually had like world class French actors in it. I thought that the setting was unbelievable. The way that it ends is unbelievable. Yeah. All the prosthetic work was incredible. I mean, gory as hell, but done tastefully, done very, very well. There's another one called Le Calvaire, which means the how do you translate that to English? Is it the Calvary? What is it called? The path that Jesus walked. For his crucifixion. Was it called? I think it's called. Yeah, it's either the cavalry. But I'm thinking the cavalry is like the people who come and save you. Anyway, Le Calvaire, Calvaire. That's a really. It's like a journalist. I think gets kind of lost in the backwoods and ends up in a really, really rural ass backwards town where people aren't all right in the head. Yeah. And bad things happen to him.
That sounds so.
That was good. Yeah, the French went on a tear for a while there. But yeah, Martyrs, Frontiers. High Tension. Inside. Yeah, those ones are must see. If you haven't seen Martyrs, get on Martyrs. That one's crazy as well.
Yeah, I'll check that out.
Right on, man. So, I mean, do you have any sponsors? Like
for the series, we have sponsors.
Yes, you have. So Booster's still involved.
Yeah, Booster, BJPin.com, Fitness Hanover.
Okay.
It's a German company that does gear out of Germany.
All right.
And Phuket Top Team.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, that's about it, I think.
Okay. And the last thing I wanted to ask you about for sure is I'm a big fan of your the documentary or the highlight reel sort of tribute that you did to Fedor. Yeah. And I remember seeing in that movie, I was really shocked about some of the exclusive footage. I mean, that's another thing that is kind of your signature is you're able to get footage for these highlight reels or these tributes. Like, how have you gone about doing that?
Yeah, for the highlight reels, I used to search everywhere for mad footage. I used to always want to use footage that nobody else used or that nobody's really seen. So I would go.
Where does that exist?
Before, back in an early time, a while ago when I was doing it.
Yeah.
Because MMA wasn't as popular, so it was hard to access a lot of the footage. I used to get them off of Japanese websites and different Korean websites that would just only post them up in their countries and download them. And then I had some of the fighters' managers, Fedor's manager used to send me a lot of footage of him in camp that they would film to use on highlights and stuff like that.
How'd you build that relationship though? I mean, that obviously requires some trust. I mean, not everybody could just hit him up and be like, hey, send me a bunch of intimate sort of, exclusive footage of you that we've never seen.
Yeah, because Fedor, his manager used to post on the forums and stuff like that. And when I did the first highlight of him, his manager watched it and he said he showed Fedor and their whole team and all that.
Yeah.
And they liked it. And he was if I was ever doing anything again, he was just always sending me through the underground messages with photos and videos, different stuff from their camps and stuff like that.
So it sounds like for you, pretty much for your whole career, nurturing the communication with the fans at the ground level has worked wonders for you.
Yeah.
And that's really been a pillar of your career.
Yeah, it's basically just keeping the trust with the fighters and the fans.
Yeah.
And they usually give me good access.
That's cool, man. That's cool. No, it sounds like, I mean, you've managed to build a lot of trust and a lot of great relationships by just, communicating with people, reaching out to them at a grassroots level, and then nurturing that, helping promote them. I mean, who doesn't want that, right?
Yeah, true.
Very cool.
It's good for both.
Excellent. So how can fans keep up to date on your work, Isaac?
Search me on YouTube as Genghis Con Films.
Okay.
All my work is there. And right now, Phuket Dreaming is on Phuket Top Team's YouTube channel, which is Phuket Top Team on YouTube.
All right.
And that's the best way. And check out my Instagram, too, also Genghis Con Films. I just started that up, trying to, build the online presence.
Good. All right. Sounds good. Awesome, man. Well, listen, Isaac, I'm a fan of your work. I hope we're going to be able to do some stuff together. I'd love to get some exclusive video, material for my site and what I'm doing. I think we've got a pretty good idea that we've fleshed out in a short amount of time, and hopefully we can start working on that early summer.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Awesome, man. Like I said, Godfather style, we're going to drag you back in, man. Can't leave MMA until I'm done. Awesome, man.
All right, thanks,
Isaac,
man.
thanks for coming through.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure. This was the Trash Talk MMA podcast. I'm your host, Antoine Pelletier, with my guest, MMA documentary maker, filmmaker, Isaac Kensington, better known as Genghis Con. Make sure you hit up his YouTube channel and check it out. Subscribe to his Instagram as well. And make sure you follow Trash Talk MMA on Twitter and Facebook as well. We're out of here. Peace.
Thanks for listening to the Trash Talk MMA podcast. Be sure to visit trashtalkmma.com.
Behind my face, behind my back, they talk trash.
And don't forget to follow Antoine on Twitter at Trash Talk MMA. Let us know you're listening. Use hashtag Trash Talk MMA.
Of what you can do outside of the gyms here. I think there's a lot of videos that get put out by gyms that are out here, and then you see what it is like to train there, but there's not a lot showing on what's going on outside. And I think it's one of the really cool things about Phuket, this island, is it's pretty small, but there's all sorts of activities that you can do across it, and I think you probably tend to highlight a lot of that, right?
Yeah, we like to show what's going on outside of Phuket, so people, if they come, they can see what it's like to live here, kind of as a local, and see all the activities, how beautiful the place is, and also the training. So you get everything in one package, pretty much.
Now, had you been out here before
No.
doing Phuket Dreaming 1?
No, this is my first time coming out.
Okay. So, but I mean, you did you do Phuket Dreaming 1 as well?
Yeah.
Okay, so you did come out here for that, obviously.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've been here since. I haven't left yet. Boyd was got into it, and they had hired originally a guy to come do it at first, but it didn't work out. And then they contacted me a couple years ago, and we've been trying to work out some stuff, and finally Booster jumped in, and they helped sponsor the whole series, and that helped get the whole thing put together.
Because it did pretty good numbers, right? How did that work for you? How did that work for Phuket Top Team? Is that something that really expanded your exposure?
Yeah, it got a lot of good numbers for the season 1, a lot of views, a lot of people seen it, and everybody, the fighters got more popular, bigger sponsors.
Yep.
Main events and stuff like that. And Boyd, the Top Team gym, they also got a lot of more customers and fighters, and a lot of more pro fighters want to come out and train at Phuket Top Team because of the series.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool because it actually highlights a lot. What's cool, man? Thank you for coming back. We tried this one time, and I had a difficulty with the mic. We lost the recording, so we got to come back and outdo ourselves this time around.
Yeah.
Awesome. Lots to talk about. You're in Phuket right now, and you're putting together and launching Phuket Dreaming Season 2 for Phuket Top Team. Tell us a little bit about that.
All right, season 1, I came out here originally to film Phuket Dreaming. It's a series on basically all the fighters that live and train in Thailand that come out here to live full time, and also their lifestyles and everything that goes behind it. And season 1 did pretty good, and we're just starting on season 2. And season 2 is we got a lot of new fighters on it, it's Thiago Tavares. We got some K.
Welcome to Trash Talk MMA.
Behind my face, behind my back, they talk trash.
The #1 podcast for news and insight that matters in the world of mixed martial arts.
I don't want to hear it.
Brought to you live and unfiltered from all 4 corners of the globe
That's what you said.
by MMA aficionado Antoine Pelletier.
Yo, and welcome to the Trash Talk MMA podcast. I'm your host, Antoine Pelletier, and today I have a very special guest in the house, Mr. Isaac Kensington, better known as MMA documentary maker and filmmaker, Genghis Con. Isaac, how you doing, buddy?
Good, you man?
Excellent. Well,
One guy's down here. We got Cyrus Washington, aka Black Dynamite. Rob Lucida will be on it. Julie Browning. There'll be a lot of new characters, plus with a lot of the old ones, and Luke also.
So when Phuket, what was Phuket Dreaming? What was its original purpose? Like, who came up with the idea for this show?
Like originally, we Boyd Clark, the owner of Phuket Top Team, he came to me with the idea that like he wanted to shoot a series like something similar to 24/7 and something similar to like my old Miami Hustle shows, but here in Phuket, surrounded about centered around his team,
okay,
like, his fight team.
How did he know about you? Just by he just was a fan of your work, or what?
Mostly Rob Lucida, like he was a fan of my work before, and he like showed Boyd. He was showing Boyd for a while, and